Good morning, ma'am. My topic is all about ecoliteracy. So, what is ecoliteracy? Ecoliteracy consider ecological system and awareness of how society operates within natural aspects and an educational imperative. So, ang mga sistema sa ecological o kahibalo kung giun sa paglihok sa community sulod sa natural nga aspeto isip o sa kakinahanglanon sa edukasyon. David or posited that by failing to include ecological perspective in education, students are taught that ecology is unimportant. Or Capra coined the idea of ecological literacy as creating a new emphasis on the need for education to integrate understanding of the interdependence between natural processes and human ways of life. So, Capra ay naglikha ng ideya ng ecological literacy bilang paglikha ng isang bagong diin sa pangangailangan para sa edukasyon upang pagsamahin ang pag-unawa sa pagtutulungan sa pagitan ng mga natural na proseso at mga paraan ng pamumuhay ng tao. Ecologically literate person and society. For World 2017, an ecologically literate person can apply such understanding to the design and organization of communities and the creation of the regenerative culture. So, para kay Wal, ang isang taong marunong sa ekolohiya ay maaaring maglapat ng gayong pag-unawa sa disenyo at organisasyon ng mga komunidad at sa paglikha ng isang regenerative na kultura. On the other hand, an ecologically literate society would be a sustainable society which does not destroy the natural environment on which they depend. So sa kabiling banda ng isang ecologically literate society ay magiging isang sustainable society na hindi sumisira sa natural na kapaligiran kung saan sila umaasa. So, ways to develop ecoliteracy in school. A growing number of educators feel the need to foster learning that genuinely prepares young people for the ecological challenges presented by this entirely unprecedented time in human history. So, to help educators foster socially and emotionally engaged ecoliteracy, the following are identified practices in age-appropriate ways for students. 1. Develop empathy for all forms of life. So, by recognizing the common needs we share with all organisms, we can extend our empathy to consider the quality of life of other forms, feel genuine concern about their well-being, and act on that concern. 2. Embrace sustainability as a community practice. So, by learning the various ways that plants, animals, and other living things are interdependent, students are inspired to consider the role of interconnectedness within their communities and see the value in strengthening those relationships by thinking and acting cooperatively. Make the invisible visible. So, if we strive to develop ways of living that are more life-affirming, we must find ways to make visible the things that seem invisible by using web-based tools such as Google Earth, Good Guide, and FoodUkit app. 4. Anticipate unintended consequences. So teachers can teach student strategies for anticipating unintended consequences. The last, understand how nature sustains life. So ecoliterate people recognize that nature has sustained life for long that resulted to turning to nature when their stature imbibe 3 crucial tenets to ecoliterate living. The 7 environmental principles of nature. So, number 1, nature knows best. People need to understand nature and how to abide by the rules it imposes. In essence, one must not go against the natural process if he or she would like to ensure a continuous and steady supply of resources. 2. All forms of life are important, so each organism plays a fundamental role in nature. Therefore, all living things must be considered as imbalance and deterioration of the system. 4. Everything changes, so people must rethink this relationship with the environment through relevant technologies for positive changes. 5. Since waste may go back to one's own backyard in some other forms, it is important to become aware of the different types of waste, classify and segregate those toxic and potential hazardous. Number 6. Aware is of finite earth. Awareness of the earth's limited resources leads to a conscious effort to change one attitude and initial to recycle them. The last, nature is beautiful and we are steward for God's creation. So being the most intelligent and being gifted with reason, humans are capable of controlling and taking care of the creation to their own advantages.
Green skull, the concept and background. The concept of green skull is introduced in Europe in the 1990s, while the Rio Earth Summit of 1992 to recognize if the need to take actions every area which is the human impact in the environment. These shifts reflected to the environmental climate of thinking about sustainable development to meet their own needs. There was a continuous misuse abuse of the natural resources in quest for a development that will then of future or be a stake recognizing education. The United Nations launched the Decade of Education for Sustainable Development. Green Skull and EST. The green skull is visualized as a skull guided by the principles of environment sustainable. It demands ongoing, continuous, and synergistic efforts of all stakeholders towards improving the environment of the skull and its surroundings. Student and learning experience outside the skull help them to consolidate and apply knowledge, gain understanding of environmental process and and relationship and issues. Acquire the skills help foster attitude, values, and sensitivity towards environmental concerns. Thus, a green school is a school of engaged the school community, especially in the children, critical thinking and learning by adapting participatory, practical, and collaborative approaches to work together, make the school and make the school healthier for the student and staff by involving the whole community works towards a sustainable future. A green school is a school that creates healthy environment conducive to learning while saving energy, environment, resources, and money. Therefore, a green school, number one, reduce environmental impacts and costs. Number two, improve occupants and health and performance. Number three, increase the environment and sustainability literacy. Characteristic of green skull: save energy, money, reduce carbon emission, reduce water usage, improve teachers retention, improve daily attendance, provide a unique education opportunity, create a green job, and improve equity. The Dark Green Skull program relevant environmental perspective. A dark green skull is a skull that delivers environmental education through assimilations of the environmental philosophy by the student in formal lesson as well as in activities outside the classroom. Accordingly, skull must be a clean and bit as evidence of good management and housekeeping, be called for a green species appropriate land use planning, conservation, materials and energy, proper waste management, segregations, use of appropriate materials and avoidance of harmful and respect other nights to smoke-free air. Worksheet. Have management policies, guidelines that will create helpful ecological campus. 30. Have well-planned environmental curriculum for all levels, adequately oriented and trained faculty and administrative library and financial support. A. Have faculty and students who are aware of appropriate environmental program of the school. F. Reach out the outside community to spread concern for Mother Earth and facilities project programs that improve environments. G. Engage the research that adds knowledge in the way of nature and the impact of human activities. Ecological living practices.
Good day, ma'am. I am the third reporter of Ecoliteracy, and our topic is all about ecoliteracy. So, as the first reporter said, ecoliteracy is to understand and internalize sustainable ecological relationship in the nature and to transfer this sustainable lifestyle to daily life, despite the fact that ecoliteracy does not have only one and unique definition. However, it is difficult to measure ecoliteracy due to its being a complex concept. So, Statement 2014 mentioned practical suggestion on how we can support the change for sustainability through ecological living. It is helpful to remember and draw inspiration from the inner and outer ecological perspective. So, first is the Smithsman 2014 Inner Ecology. First is to become a catalyst of change to help co-create a better world and future. Second is care for and relate with non-human beings while spending time with nature. And the third one is make them a sustainability crisis that forces us to learn, dream, think, design, act, and relate in new ways. So, number 4 is join the rest around the world, becoming agents of sustainability. So, number 5 is nurture nature by taking care of our body and become aware of our natural body rhythms. The 6th one is become more energy efficient and learn to recycle our own energy. The 7th is learn to compost our own waste and no need to dump this onto others. And the last one, the number 8, is become aware of rights, needs and well-being of future generation and explore how we can support this in our action generation and explore how we can support this in our actions. So let's go on to the Smithsman 2014 Outer Ecology. So the first one is educate ourselves and the resources that we, our family and our organization utilize to fulfill and sustain our needs. Second is reduce, reuse, repurpose, and recycle. The third one is be aware of the real price of goods and services that we use. Cheap products often made hidden cost. So, it labor animal cruelty and degradation of ecosystem. So, the number 4 is find out any child labor practices or natural resources that we sacrifice in the process of producing products and services. The 5th one is recycle gray water. 6, collect and use rainwater. 7 is create an organic vegetable garden. 8 is compost organic waste and use the compost in the garden. Number 9 is create garden with animals, insect, trees, and plants. The number 10 is create a roof garden. Number 11, buy organic and local products as much as possible. Number 12, support local business and organizations that care for our planet. So let's move on to the integrating ecological literacy into the curriculum. So the Center of Ecoliteracy 2015 promotes a variety of teaching strategies based on practices that are developmentally appropriate to students' levels, brain-based to foster knowledge, skills, values essential to sustainable living. So students learn best when teaching strategies are varied that includes hands-on activities, time reflection, thoughtful discussion, and combined indoor and outdoor environment, including all of this. So the integrating ecology literacy into the curriculum include the first is the place-based learning, second one is the project-based learning, and the third one is the Socratic Inquiry, and the fourth one is experimental learning, and the fifth one, the last one, are the interdisciplinary learning. So let's gonna review the place-based learning. So what is place-based learning? It is an experiential learning that engages students in their own environments and a strategy that captures their imagination and advances environmental stewardship and civic engagements. So activities includes mapping the local environment to learn key ecological and cultural principles, studying the interplay between local society and working with local citizens. So to improve the quality of life in their communities, learning takes students out of the classroom and into the community and natural environment. It adheres to the following principles. So place-based learning means that it engages students in their community, including their physical environment, local cultures, history, or people. With place-based learning, students get to see the results of their work in their community. It aims to produce change by affecting the whole community, not just the individuals touched by a funded. So with intentionality, place-based learning helps young people develop their social networks and takes the chance out of chance encounters beyond schools. So it promotes contributes some schools, treats students as participants preparing for a distant future. Why is it that place-based learning is important? So it is important because it boosts students' achievements and improves environmental, social, and economic vitality. So in short, place-based learning is for us students and individuals to participate in our community activity in our community. So we are daily to participate in any activities. So there are some research that reveals the benefits of place-based learning, such as higher scores. Second is better grade point averages. And the third one is to improve the classroom's behavior. And the number 4 is increased self-esteem and problem-solving abilities. And the number 5 is higher level thinking skills. So let's move on to the second one. The second one is the project-based learning. So it is a strategy that involves students in projects that use a variety of resources. So including the community technology, outside experts, writing resources, and the web, while the teacher usually serves as facilitator of learning. So project-based learning or a project-based instruction is an instructional approach designed to give students the opportunity to develop knowledge and skills through engaging project sets around challenges and problems so they may face in the real world. So project-based learning is a teaching method in which students gain knowledge and skills by working for an extended period of time to investigate and respond to an authentic, engaging, and complex questions, problems, or challenge. So using this strategy, research shows these impacts of learners, such as increased critical thinking skills of students. Second is fostered positive attitudes towards subjects, such as mathematics. So an explanatory performance with a conceptual questions and applied problems. The third one is improved positive studies and work habits. So problem-solving capabilities and self-esteem. So the implications of this study is to the teaching learning process is to promote a unique way of being an ecoliterate person. So in this time of server, environmental problems, ecoliteracy must be in the perspective within the curriculum and educate students to be literate about working in the environment. So instilling an ecoliteracy by teachers. So students is very important to develop students' ecoliteracy skills and to internalize the relationship between nature to the daily life of the students. So the teacher must be able to explore the students' abilities so that they can be more productive and see the talents and abilities of students in the learning process. So it develops the child's ability to work with his or her peers, building teamworks and group skills. So it allows the teacher to learn more about the child as a person. So it helps the teacher communicate in the progressive and meaningful ways. So with the child or a group of children on a range of issues. So let's continue. Let's move on to the second one. The third one is the Socratic Inquiry. So Socratic Inquiry, this is named after the Greek philosopher Socrates. So he believed that questioning or non-answers stimulate learning. So therefore, rather than teaching facts and information, teachers encourage students to ask questions about their assumptions, values, and preconceptions. So therefore, the role of the teacher shifts from direct instruction to facilitating in discussion. So the Socratic method is also known as method of Elenchus, Elenthic method, or Socratic debate. So it is a form of cooperative argumentative dialogue between individuals based on asking and answering questions. So to stimulate critical thinking and to draw out idea and underlying the presupposition. So the Socratic methods involves a shared dialogue between teachers and students. The teacher leads by posing thought-provoking questions. So students actively engage by asking questions of their own. The discussion goes back and forth in a teaching tactic in which questions are asked continually until either the students gives a wrong answer. So either the students gives a wrong answer or a reasoning, or the teacher is satisfied with the students' responses. So, through skilled questioning, the teacher asks students to clarify their statements. So, identify weaknesses in their arguments and provide evidence of their reasoning. So, strategy impacts students' learning as evidence by the following outcomes. First is students reveal their beliefs, misconceptions, and values, and eventually clarify their thoughts related to the topic being discussed. The second is students become more adept in critical thinking. The third one is students improves their listening skills and learn to better articulate their thoughts and ideas and become more tolerant of diverse opinion. So now the fourth one is let's move on to the fourth one, the experimental learning. So experimental learning, it promotes students' involvement in the real world and defines the teacher's role as a facilitator of learning. So the process of learning leads to behavioral outcomes. It is based on the premise that learning is an active and continuous process with experience and at its foundation. So it gets along the principles of learning associated with the environmental literacy. So the following are. So it means that experiential learning is the process of learning by engaging students in hands-on experiences and reflection. So they are better able to connect theories and knowledge learned in the classroom to the real-world situation. So there are some of the experiential learning activities to include in the classroom, such as field trip, art projects, science experiments, and role playing. And also there is also some activities that will included in the classroom. So it is also a better understanding for course materials, a broader view of world, and appreciation of community. So let's move on to the last part of this topic, the interdisciplinary learning. So what is interdisciplinary learning? So interdisciplinary learning is to emphasize connection between traditionally discrete disciplines such as math, science, history, and language arts, rather than limiting learning to one content area at a time. So the following are the advantages of disciplinary learning. So these are the 8 disciplinary learning. So when teaching and learning are organized around them. So that's it. So interdisciplinary learning is to enable teachers and learners to make connection across learning through exploring clear and relevant link across the curriculum. So it supports the use and application of what has thought and learned, so in a new and different ways. So interdisciplinary teaching is a method or set of methods used to teach across the curricular disciplines, or the bringing together of separate disciplines. So around common themes, issues, or problems of the disciplinary instructions associated with the component of several other instructional approaches. So how do we teach with an interdisciplinary approach? So first one is define problems, issues, topics, or questions that warrant interdisciplinary examination. Second one is present. So we need to present the clear rationale for taking interdisciplinary approach, including the advantages to be gained. The third one is identify relevant disciplines fortunately. So there are activities you can implement relatively easily that deliver research-back benefits. So this includes that to improve critical thinking, students should improve their analysis abilities by using approaches from different disciplines. So there will be a better bias recognition to solve a problem that demands an interdisciplinary approach. So students must typically use information rooted in a range of perspectives. So this can often challenge their pre-existing ideas to help them identify bias in themselves in others. So there are some preparation for future problems. So using these skills and knowledge from different disciplines is practice for solving problems outside school walls. So, interdisciplinary teachings also helps advance critical thinking and cognitive development. So, interdisciplinary instruction helps students develop their cognitive abilities. So, brain-based skills and mental processes that are needed to carry out tasks. So, thank you, and that's all for about the end of our lessons for today, and I hope you have learned something coming from this discussion. So thank you so much for watching and listening about our report, our topic about the ecoliteracy. Once again, I am Johanna Sapi from BS Ed 1 English. Thank you.